The sweet you casually hold today has a story you probably haven't imagined. Long before candy belonged to children, sweetness itself was rare, precious, and tied to wealth and power. Honey was the first luxury. Collecting it wasn't easy. Ancient Egyptians and other early civilizations risked stings, climbed trees, or tended clay hives just to gather this sticky gold. It wasn't merely food, it was medicine, ritual, and a symbol of status. Priests offered honey to gods, nobles displayed it, and even small amounts were sometimes reserved for ceremonial use. Then humans discovered a clever trick, dipping a stick into honey. Suddenly, sweetness became portable. Sometimes they sprinkled crushed nuts or seeds, making it less messy and easier to enjoy. These early candies on a stick weren't just treats, they reflected careful, deliberate use of a scarce resource. But here's an interesting detail most people miss: the size and shape. Early hard candies were often huge, flat discs, almost like small dessert plates on a stick. They were uneven, thick, and meant to last. Over centuries, as candy-making skills improved, these discs gradually shrank into smaller, round shapes, easier to hold and share, the kind we recognize today. The stick remained, preserving the original idea of sweetness on a handle, but the design evolved as sugar and candy spread. Even in rural areas, villagers who kept bees made small honey sticks for children, simple treats, not ceremonial. So from the very beginning, sweetness lived in two worlds: elite rituals and everyday comfort. And then something transformative happened: sugar. Sugar slowly traveled from India to the Middle East, then to Europe. Unlike honey, sugar could be boiled, shaped, and hardened. But for a long time, it was even more expensive than honey, a luxury for the elite. Early sugar candies were poured into molds, sometimes wrapped around sticks for convenience. They were still rare, medicinal at times, and mostly adult indulgences. This set the stage for the eventual mass consumption we know today, a shift from power and wealth to pleasure and accessibility. For centuries, sugar remained a sign of wealth. European nobles displayed it at banquets, doctors prescribed it. Wars and colonies were built around sugar trade. Yet, as cultivation spread and prices slowly fell, candy stopped being a privilege and started reaching ordinary people. By the 17th and 18th centuries, boiled sugar candies became street treats. Vendors poured syrup onto stone slabs, stretched it, twisted it, sometimes molded it onto sticks. The sticks weren't for fun, they kept hands clean and controlled portion sizes. Interestingly, many of these early stick candies were medicinal, containing ginger, clove, mint, or anise. You didn't bite them immediately, you sucked them slowly, just like modern lollipops. Industrialization changed everything in the 19th century. Sugar refining became faster and cheaper. Factories appeared in Europe and the United States, boiling sugar consistently and using molds for repeatable shapes. Those huge, ceremonial discs shrank further, transforming into small, round, uniform candies on sticks, portable, affordable, and easy to mass-produce. In 1908, American candy maker George Smith began mass-producing stick candies and later trademarked the term lollipop. The word itself likely came from Old English slang, lolly meaning tongue and pop meaning strike or slap. This was when lollipops finally shifted to being children's treats, cheap and fun, rather than elite indulgences. Families could afford them even during hard times, like the Great Depression, which helped cement lollipops in popular culture. By now, lollipops had transitioned fully from rare luxury to widespread pleasure, yet the stick, the slow-sucking design, and the round shape preserved a centuries-old lineage. What seems ordinary now carries a long human history of adaptation, innovation, and changing access to sweetness. So, were lollipops originally a royal treat or a peasant's pleasure? The answer is both, and neither. In ancient times, sweetness represented power. Honey and sugar were rare, expensive, and sometimes ceremonial. Early stick candies were for the elite, the temples, the rich, even though simpler versions existed for villagers and children. As sugar spread and industrial methods improved, lollipops became smaller, uniform, and more accessible. The luxury stayed in memory, but the candy itself traveled down the social ladder. What started as a marker of wealth became an everyday delight. Another subtle truth: lollipops survived because of their design, not just flavor. The sticks slowed consumption, making them perfect for rituals, medicinal use, and later, children. Even today, throat lozenges on sticks mirror that same principle. The candy we casually unwrap carries centuries of innovation, adaptation, and cultural evolution. Every time someone holds a lollipop, they hold a piece of human history. It's a sweet that started in temples and royal courts, shrank and simplified for the streets, and ultimately became a treat for everyone, across centuries and classes. It's neither only royal nor only common, it's timelessly human, small, round, and sweet.